Good morning, my dear little kids. Hope you all are doing great at home and enjoying your online classes. As we all love to read and hear fairy tales, right? As they all are full of magical things. So today we are going to read one such popular fairy tale, that Jack, who is a small child like you all, and he took a huge risk. Now, what was that risk? Let's find out in the story named Jack and the Beanstalk. Here, Jack is the name of the boy in the story, and Beanstalk, it is the stem of a bean plant which grows very fast and very tall. So, let's begin. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woman who had a son named Jack. She was ill and Jack was too young to work. Almost all their belongings had been sold to buy food. Here, belonging means whatever they had. And in the story, Jack's mother was ill and they are poor. And Jack was very young to work. Almost they have sold everything whatever they had for buying food. There was nothing left worth selling. They had an old cow named Daisy whom they were very fond of. Here, worth means of any value. And there is nothing left which they can sell for buying food. But an old cow named Daisy, whom they loved a lot. One day, Jack's mother said, "Jack, go to the market and sell our cow, or we shall have nothing to eat." And one day, what happened? Jack's mother said to Jack that, "Jack, go to the market and sell our cow because now we don't have anything to eat." Thus, the next day, with a heavy heart, Jack left for the market to sell their beloved Daisy. Here you can see the underlined phrase "with a heavy heart," which means unhappily, and the word beloved means dearly loved. Now, what happened? Next day, Jack was very unhappy because he left for the market to sell his beloved Daisy. Now, what happened there? For some time, he went along very sadly, but on seeing the hustle bustle at the market, he soon recovered his spirit. Here, the phrase recovered his spirit means was happy again. After seeing the crowd in the market, he gained his spirit of selling his cow for the money. He stood in the corner and started calling out, "Who will buy my cow?" A few farmers looked at Daisy and said, "Oh, the cow is too thin and old." Now, what happened after seeing the crowd, the rush in the market? Jack started selling his cow. And after listening him, some farmers looked at Daisy and said, "Oh, the cow is too thin and old." Now, what happened? Jack was disappointed as no one came forward to buy his cow. However, he met a farmer at last who looked over the cow and was eager to buy it. Now again there is a phrase which is looked over, which means looked carefully, and eager, the word eager means excited. Now what happened? A farmer came to the Jack and he looked very excited after seeing the cow, and he is very excited to buy it. Jack asked him, "How much will you buy it for?" The farmer said, "I do not have any money, but I have a handful of magic beans. Would you like exchange your cow for them?" Now what happened? When Jack asked to that farmer that how much money he will give, to Jack for the cow. The farmer said he don't have any money, but he have a handful of magic beans. Would he like to exchange his cow for them? Now what happened? At first, Jack thought that the farmer was joking, but the farmer had a kind expression on his face. He said, "These are not ordinary beans. They are the most wonderful beans that were ever known." Now, what happened? Jack thought that the farmer was joking, but after seeing his kind expression, here you can see again a phrase is there, had a kind expression, which means looked with tenderness. After seeing his expressions, Jack got confused. He said, "These are not ordinary beans. They were the most wonderful beans that were ever known." Now what happened next? What he said, "If you plant them tonight, they will grow up by tomorrow morning and reach the sky." For some reason, Jack could not refuse the farmer, and thus he sold the cow for the handful of beans. And what happened next? After listening his explanation, Jack somehow could not refuse the offer, and he sold his cow for the handful of beans. Alas, when he got home, his mother was furious and she screamed, "You silly boy, what shall we eat tonight?" Angrily, she threw the beans out of the house. And what happened next? When Jack reached home, his mother was furious, which means she is very angry, and she screamed. She shouted at Jack that, "You silly boy, what shall we eat tonight?" And angrily, she threw all the beans out of the house. What next? Since there was no food to eat that night, both the mother and son slept hungry. Jack woke up the next morning to find his room dark. He jumped out of the bed and ran to the window to see what the matter was. And what happened next morning? Jack woke up and he found the darkness in his room, and he jumped out of the bed to see what happened outside. He observed that although the sun was shining brightly outside, but beside his bedroom window was there a giant beanstalk which seemed to reach the sky. And what he observed there? He observed that there was a sun who is shining brightly outside, but beside his window, his bedroom's window, there was a giant beanstalk which seemed to reach the sky. He called out, "Mother, look at this giant beanstalk." His mother came to the window and said, "Of what use will this be to us? Chop it off. We can use it as a firewood." Now, after seeing the giant beanstalk, what his mother said to him? She said that, "Of what use will this to be us? Chop it off. We can use it as a firewood." Now, what happened next? But Jack did not listen to his mother's words and thought, "I will just see where it leads to." Now, Jack decided that he will climb this giant beanstalk to see where it leads to. With that thought, he stepped out the window and on the beanstalk and began to climb upwards. And what he did? He started climbing upward. He climbed higher and higher till their cottage looked a mere speck below. Here, cottage means small house, mere means only, and speck means small mark or small piece. Now what happened? He climbed higher and higher till their cottage looked a small piece or a small mark. Here student, this is a half story, and what happened next we will see in the next lesson, which is lesson number 6. So this is it for today, And in our next class, we will do wow words and question answer of this exercise. Till then, stay safe at home and enjoy your classes. Thank you so much. Bye bye and take care of yourself.